does not override biological sex. Do not get any closer. I'm telling you now.
Can you not? You just tried to put your hands on him. Oh, I did. I don't know.
Yes, you did. You tried to grab my hat, didn't you?
Wow.
There are loads of women like that in jogging. I was just saying, in jogging bottoms that come along, you know, and have a go at me. I don't know what it is. They've been to the gym, you know, and why does she want to defend men in knickers going into her space and men in dresses? Do you see? I mean, I don't know how many times people have gone for my heart. So that was a Neo move then.
Honestly. And guys, as a woman, can we please like just stop thinking that we can just attack men and that they're not going to do anything? Like, stop it. You're making yourself look stupid.
Is that your opinion?
Yes.
Shame on you.
Is it? Tell me.
Shame on
right,
you.
Tell me why.
Shame on you.
Tell me why it's shame on me.
Shame on you. Why do you worry about it?
Well,
why would you come out and make somebody else unhappy?
Well, I think the truth matters for a start.
Truth? What is the truth?
The truth.
What's the truth?
Right. Well, the truth is that.
What about people who are already born with multiple sex? You know, it's like a 1% population of the planet. Well, like, why are you shaming people? Why do you want to bring your misery onto other people? This is what you spend your days doing. You should think about your life and how your life is doing.
Right.
Shame on you.
Come on, I'll have a conversation. Don't run off. Well, you did. You started it. I'm here to have conversations with people. It says trans women are men. Thank you.
It's like a stunt thing.
Is it a what?
A stunt thing.
No, I go up and down the country and also around the world actually, having conversations about the harms of gender ideology with people.
So sad.
Is it? Why?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's sad?
Why can't you just let people be who they are?
What if it affects? Just give me a sec. What if it affects somebody else?
Why can't you just let people be who they are? That is such an interesting sentence. And it's interesting because the same kind of rhetoric or ideology seemed to come from the gentleman who stopped a little bit before. I guess my question is this gentleman stopping people from being who they are by expressing his freedom of speech? This is what's kind of a bit unclear to me as I watch this video. What I find extremely interesting is a woman at the start of the video who's attempting to grab his hat or whatever she was attempting to do, in my opinion, is attempting to stop him from being who he is, right? Because that's an infraction, okay? That or an attempt at infraction and an attempt at engaging him in his endeavor. You might call it his work or whatever. Whatever he's doing, she's attempting to stop him in some way. But someone else comes along later and says to him, why can't you just let people do what they're doing? Sometimes I really find it a bit challenging to understand the rationale and the arguments of certain people as they promote or put forward their views, especially when it's in opposed to other people's views. But look, let's get to the end of this and then we'll see what else is said.
That's so sad because you're really young, and it's like disappointing that you've grown up to think that way.
Right.
No, I've realised it with real world experience.
Has anyone ever attacked you in a bathroom?
No, I've seen a lot of people who identify as women in the women's bathroom that should not be in there.
What's wrong with that?
Because they're men.
But they're not men.
What are they then?
What about intersex individuals?
That is a very, very small percentage of the population.
It's actually not, it's about 50% of the population.
50.
Sorry, 50%.
You said 50% of intersex.
Oh, intersex, sorry.
Yeah.
Intersex? Yeah. It's actually like massively under the radar.
Where did you get your source for that? May I ask?
Well, it's massively under the radar. There's like a huge cover-up about intersex individuals.
Okay.
I don't really want to be filmed doing all of this, but I just think this is really sad. Okay. Especially in like London, you know, we're like trying to be really inclusive.
Let me address some of the things that you said.
You know, go around somewhere else where like maybe you meet like-minded individuals. But this it's really upset me getting off the tube. Like I have a lot of like trans friends.
Right. She said, I've just got to stop it. She said, especially like in London where we're trying to be really inclusive. I was born and raised in London. Lived in London the overwhelming majority of my life, especially in London where we're trying to be extremely inclusive. Maybe someone can argue, Samuel, the fact you were able to be born and raised in London, despite growing up in areas like Dagenham and East London with race wars, extremely, I don't know. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on whether or not London is attempting to be extremely inclusive. Maybe because there's been an Asian mayor. Maybe that's what they're talking about, or what she's talking about more so. I don't know. I don't get it. But having worked in schools in London, having been born and raised in London, I do believe that London has become a melting pot. I do believe London has become multicultural. I do believe that London has become an interesting, diverse place. But I don't think it's because, especially in London, where we're trying to be inclusive, I don't think that's exactly the play that we've seen play out. But again, I need to stopping it, because yeah, let's go.
And they have faced so much oppression, and yet they're the ones who are being called out for being like a danger to society. Right. Like, trans individuals are not the ones who are a threat to society.
Right.
It's actually people like yourselves who are pushing this agenda that trans people are dangerous, that puts trans people at risk, and that's not the problem.
Do you think you might not have all the information? If I give you some information showing you about the dangers of people identifying as trans polls, real world examples, do you want to wait around, because I've got a bag full of them here?
Where do you get your sources from that
I'll show you.
Dangerous?
Let me,
Am I dangerous?
Right, can you see all these? Can you see all these?
Dangerous to you as a trans individual myself?
It's probably not worth me taking those out. But you're saying what?
Well, exactly. Am I a threat to you?
Are you not? What's
Would you be upset if I was in your bathroom? No, because you're a woman. But I'm not. But you are.
What are you then?
So I'm non-binary.
So what does that mean?
It means I don't identify as any gender.
Right.
So
What sex are you?
well, that's irrelevant to the conversation that you're having.
Well, it can't be irrelevant. It actually becomes not what you identify as. If you say you don't identify as something, and someone asks you, well, which one are you? You don't say it's irrelevant, because if it's irrelevant, it means you are actually one of them. So your decision or choice to not identify as something needs to be backed up with some kind of conceptual understanding of your stance on it. Because if your stance is I don't identify, then why would you comply to have a kind of conversation where someone asks you which one are you out of the only two there are? So it's a bit weird in my mind, the arguments being brought here. But two of the things that I think are super important. The first one is this whole idea around oppression that is being purported to be thrown at, placed on people who fit the narrative which are being discussed in the video. The reason I think that's really, really interesting is because I think a lot of the time people mismatch words, all right? And people use words like oppression when they actually mean things like criticism, or they use words like oppression when they actually mean things like discrimination, if you even want to be a bit more extreme, right? You might argue that certain people are being discriminated against, but that's completely different to saying people are being oppressed, okay? Because when you think about people that have been oppressed, okay, people that have really been oppressed, and a lot of the time in the media, they try to marry and mirror people that are being criticized with people being oppressed as though they're the same thing, so that we can take the compassion for the people being oppressed and place it on the people being criticized. And I think we've just got to do better. I think as a community, as a culture, we've got to do better about understanding our stances and why we stand on what we stand on. And more importantly, if we're going to put ourselves out there to discuss or defend the things we believe in, which every human being should be able to do. Even in the Bible, it says you should know what it is. You should be ready at all times to know what it is, the calling that you believe in. So whatever it is you believe, I believe that you should be bold enough to go and study that thing so that you can stand up and defend that thing. Because if you can't defend the thing, then why do you believe the thing? Because at the end of the day, what's going to happen a lot of the time is someone is going to challenge your view. Someone is going to challenge your belief. Someone is going to challenge what you have come to believe to be true. And when it gets challenged, what are you going to do? Are you going to use an ad hominem fallacy, which is basically when you start insulting the person because you believe that by insulting them, you won't have to actually logically argue the argument? Because that's what happens more time in our generation than any other kind of real, valuable, logical discourse. People aren't talking anymore. Now people are shaming, all right? Or people are telling people they're shaming when they're actually talking, right? And this is the problem. We've got to a place where it's not even clear to most people what's actually happening. Is this healthy debate? Is this healthy discourse? Is this someone sharing their opinion? Or is this hate speech? Or is this, vilification, which a lot of the time it ends up becoming, and people synonymize the two instead of recognizing the differences between the two. So as I'm literally, pondering on this video, that's the first thing that really stands out to me. Just that simple fact that sometimes we are mismatching and amalgamating words. We're bringing words together, meshing them together, which aren't actually the same thing. All right. Oppression and criticism are not the same. I don't believe that the LBGQT, I don't know the letters, but I don't think that community or people that subscribe to that community are being oppressed. I believe, if anything, they're being criticized and maybe at most in certain cases being discriminated against, which is completely different to being oppressed, right? That's the first thing. The second thing, which I think is super crucial and characteristic of this dialogue and conversation, is the intrusion, the literal intrusion, all right? A lot of the time, in order for people to succeed in doing things that are not mainstream accepted, they have to band together, all right? And what happens is you get a group, which is a very small, minute group, okay, which have potentially like very little power, building on their group by telling other groups, hey, you're part of our group. And if you see what happened in that last discourse, which was kind of interesting, the conversation shifted from trans to intersex, from intersex to non-binary, and this is going to keep happening. This is why I'm sharing this, because again, I'm calling it, okay? So in a year from now, 2 years from now, 8 years from now, 10 years from now, you can let me know if I'm right or wrong, but I'm calling it right now. When you have a group that is finding it may be losing its battle for shares in the company, all right, or for a say at the table, right, what happens a lot of the time is they start to do what we call M&A, mergers and acquisition. They start merging and acquiring new groups so that their group can have a louder voice, because they're now contracting more people and more people and more people and more people. Now, if you're someone who doesn't actually subscribe to this way of life, one of the things it would be incumbent upon you to do is to get educated, develop, have a clue about this stuff. Why? And I'm not talking about running down the rabbit hole of understanding what LGBTQ or XYZ is about. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is get to a place in your life where you clearly understand why you stand, as we would say from the area, 10 toes on what you believe in. And the reason this is so important is because as you do that, what's going to happen is when said groups are trying to expand and multiply and become new groups through mergers and acquisitions, you will have a clear understanding of why you believe what you believe and why you're going to stand on what you believe, instead of being able to be caught out or deceived. I hope this is helpful. I'm actually seriously interested in your views on this. Let me know in the comments below. And side by side with that, if you got value from this video, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, become a part of the tribe. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one, as you and I both remember that it's small keys like these that open up big doors. Good day, God bless. Let's go.
Small keys open big doors.